now. That's hopefully spearheading him to want to continue to be an excellent defender. And I think that's what makes him such a valuable player. He's a big guy, but there's a lot of big guys in our league, and there's guys that are bigger. But he does move really well, and he's got long arms, and so he can guard ball screen coverages a couple different ways. He can protect your basket. He rebounds well. So he's a talented guy, and I'm hopeful that he's going to have a big year. I know he's worked hard to have one.
He can get to the free throw line so often, and he improved 14 percentage points at
Yep.
the free throw line last year. Is
Yep.
that something he's worked really hard
Yeah,
on?
he has, and he's continued to work on his free throw shooting and shooting in general. We spent a lot of time with him in the spring and summer to just continue to build his shooting stroke, because we know he needs that if he wants to play beyond college and be successful. And he's not shooting threes or anything like that very often, but he is expanded his game, and he's going to shoot a few more perimeter shots occasionally. He's worked hard at his free throw, and that's important to him. And he's shown the proper work, put in the proper time for work, and made adjustments that we've talked about, and he's hungry to improve.
Fred, you're sitting here talking to us about a team that's got 4 seniors back. I'm guessing maybe in late March or early April that wasn't necessarily a guarantee.
Yeah.
How critical is that time period now? Because I'm sure a lot of these guys are playing like, I've been in college 4 years. Maybe it's time to go back.
It's really you're in a hard place as a coach, and everything is at in the advantage of the student athlete versus the program. And as a coach, you want what's best for your players. You want to help them. You want to give them the best information. And then I always try to give them some space and let them make whatever decision their family they feels best. But while that's going on, you can't really. It's hard to recruit because you don't know if you have scholarships. And so, when you're recruiting in the year before, you don't necessarily know that guys are leaving, and so you don't recruit in the fall in the same way. And so a lot of it's a surprise. The David Scarr situation was a complete surprise that he was leaving, and then a complete surprise that he came back. So that was kind of a unique deal. We kind of had some inkling that Shelton might think about it, not a lot, but a little. Marquise was a little the same, but to be honest with you, we kind of thought those guys would probably both be back, and then all of a sudden you don't know. And obviously it would have drastically changed our team. And so it's, unbelievably significant that those guys come back. I mean, it changes your team completely. And, I went through that with KJ. When KJ left, I thought we were getting ready to have a tremendous team. I thought we had an NCAA tournament team and an older group and a group that we built together that was really good. And then all of a sudden he leaves, and we're not the same. And we wouldn't have been the same this year if those guys left. So we're extremely thankful they are back. And I think all those guys are hungry to prove that they've got some other things that they want to get done, both personally and as a team.
I'm guessing for you and your colleagues, this is just a new reality. It's going to be this way every year, perhaps. If you recruit at a certain level, get to NCAA tournaments, play at a certain level.
Well, it is, and there's also now, and the whole thing with guys being able to go to combines and go take it even further, and still come back. And so, as a coach, now you just got to, it's another thing to process. The problem is there's not very many good players left in June. So you can get stuck. And I think you're going to see some programs that get stuck because they're going to get surprised that a kid leaves, and they're going to be left without a guy because they're holding a scholarship. And so we'll just have to wait and see. But we're all trying to do what's best for the players. These are life-changing decisions for them, and whether they go or come back, we want to do what we can to make sure that the kids are put in good positions to be successful when basketball at the college level is over. And the interesting thing with our guys is they had their degrees. So that was the thing that was always made it a little more tenuous for me, and that I always was worried that, hey, these kids grow up and there aren't a lot of them thinking about master's degrees. They're thinking about get my college degree, get to an NCAA tournament, play in the tournament, have a good experience, then what's next? And so these Marquise and Shelton especially were two guys that, have kind of done all that. And so now it's like, do they really want to come back? And the thing I think that you've seen in football and basketball with kids coming back, I think it speaks to Clemson. And I think it speaks to the experience that kids are having at Clemson, not just on the court or on the football field, but in the classroom, socially, hanging around campus. I think kids have a good experience. I think it's a great place to go to school, and you're seeing that that's part of the reason why kids are coming back.
Right on the other side of that, with today's college basketball landscape and the transfers that go on with all the underclassmen, you have the upperclassmen to deal with from going into the NBA, and then the underclassmen now doing transfers. So they're having to re-recruit these kids a lot.
There is a lot of that. There's a lot of that. It's and again, we're trying to do things for the student athlete, and I'm okay with kids transferring. When I was a young coach, I didn't understand it, but now the amount of time that we're demanding of student athletes, we used to not have summer access, and so kids could kind of have the summer and do some things on their own and all that. Now we have them, and we have them 4 hours a week for basketball, 4 hours for weightlifting. Guys they're here for 8 weeks. When you start thinking about all the time and effort that these kids put into the requirements that come with being a scholarship athlete, whether it's basketball, football, or any sport, there should be some chances to leave and go elsewhere and play. If you're playing 6, 8, 9 minutes in a basketball game and you become a junior and you think you should play 28 minutes because of what you've done the last 2 years and working, and you're not sure it's going to happen, that's when it happens. And I think as coaches, there are times you could trick a kid into staying because you could tell them things that probably aren't true, and you could keep them there. Sure, you're going to play 28, 30 minutes. I know you are. And then they come and stay, and they don't, But that's not good for anybody, and it's not good for your team. And so I think the best thing as a coach to do is be honest with them, tell them what you feel, and then that's going to result in certain situations where kids then, I just want more. I want to play more than 12 minutes. I want to play more than 14 minutes. I'm a junior. I feel like I should get 26, 30 minutes a game, and so that's why you're going to have kids leave. So yes, it makes roster management has never been more challenging as a basketball coach. And the model with football now with playing 4 games, that's obviously brings on a whole nother unique situation. There's some things that are great about it. There's some young players on my team that I would love to be able to play some games and kind of get a feel for what I see in development, and then decide, what? No, we're going to redshirt you. It's probably in the best interest to do that because we've seen you in some game action. But now you never know, are kids going to leave, and does that force a kid to leave? But so roster management has become extremely difficult in college sports now.
Coach, speaking of redshirting, do you hope to be able to redshirt Trey Jamison, or do you think he can help you this season?
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one. He's recovering from knee surgery, still has not done really any kind of up and down action. The only thing he's really done is a little bit of light skill work on a basket with a coach, and so there's no question he's falling behind. So that's a real option. I think we're just going to have to see over the next month to 6 weeks, what does it look like in terms of how quickly he's progressing. We like what he's doing. With kids that size, he's a big man. He is 6'10" and 250 plus pounds. And so you've kind of got to err on the side of caution when you're dealing with knees and ankles and those things. And so I think we're really trying to do that. But I think the next month will really kind of dictate that decision.
You mentioned Skara being a surprise. How did that whole thing sort of shake out?
Well, he kind of just came in my office when he left and just said, "Coach, I'm thinking about going back and playing." And he got his degree, and I'm getting my degree, and I kind of think I want to go home and play. And I was a little bit surprised because obviously he only played part of last season, and he'd never said that in the past. It really kind of threw me for a loop because it might have changed some of my thoughts in terms of recruiting. Sit him out a year to only get 1 year out of him is a lot different than getting a second year. And so then I talked to, some of the guys that were involved in his recruitment, met again with David, and he just said, whatever it is, he just feels like it's kind of time. I think there might have been a little bit of homesickness. I don't know if he would admit that now, but he's a little bit older guy, and so to admit that is maybe a source of pride that he doesn't want to show. But at the same time, we talked about different things. I talked about with David. I understand. I'll even let you, like, you don't need to come back for like some of the summer workouts. You can come back and, towards the end of the summer if you need an extended period. I know you haven't been home much. And he said, no, Coach, I just want to go. And then all of a sudden, I don't even remember the time frame now, I get a call from, one of his coaches at the prep school, and he said, hey, you guys still have a scholarship. David's kind of changing his mind. He goes, I don't think he feels like he made the right decision. And, sometimes you miss things when you're away from them. And so I said, yeah, we do. And I said, but I need to talk to him before that. We're not just going to do this. There needs to be some conversation. And so I called him and we talked. And, he said he thought he made a mistake and wanted to come back. And obviously he's a great guy. He's been unbelievable in the 2 years he'd been with us. And so it was not really a question of me thinking that, it's not like he had a list of demands that I want to come back and play. It was more of just like, Coach, I made a mistake. I want to come back. And I knew our guys liked David a lot, and so I talked to one or two of them, and they were like, yeah, Coach, we'd love to have him back. Marquise was like, let's get him back here. And Eli, who he roomed with, yeah, we definitely want him back. And then it was, all right, let's do this. And so then there was a little paperwork we had to go through with the NCAA, and he came back, right around early August.